Ladies and gentlemen, our City Hall clock is a minute slow according to the atomic clock that I wear on my wrist. So it's 7 p.m. and it's time to call this meeting of the Millcreek City Council to order. It's August 25, 2025, and it's 7 p.m. So I'd like to welcome you all, and it's good to see you. It's going to be good to honor you guys tonight, and I would appreciate it if you were able to do so to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. So I'd like to welcome our Unified Police Precinct Chief, Christine Petty Brown, to present the Millcreek. We usually have the Officer of the Month, but this is going to be the Officers of the Month.
Oh, the green light.
Yeah, you got to turn your mic on, please.
There we go. Okay. Doing something different tonight. We're doing a Division Commander's Award. So that's why all these officers here. I'd like to welcome Chief Justin Hoyle from the Holiday Precinct. There are a number of holiday officers we're honoring tonight. So I'll go ahead and read this. It's with great pride and sincere appreciation that we recognize the outstanding bravery, teamwork, and selfless dedication demonstrated by the following officers of the Unified Police Department, whose actions went above and beyond the call of duty in response to a series of fires that threatened numerous lives and properties. Officer Jesse Motzkus, Officer Caleb Head, Detective Anna Walker, Detective Easton Story, Officer Chastity Hells, Officer Jason Gavin, Officer Louis Munez, Officer Josh Thomas, Officer Caden Averett, Officer Daniel Hampton, Sergeant Dacia Summer, Lieutenant Tyler Ackerman. On July 25th, 2025, during a critical and fast-developing emergency incident, these officers responded to a fire at the Willow Glen apartment complex with swift and courageous action. Working in close coordination with the Unified Fire Authority, these officers carried fire hoses to the necessary locations, enabling firefighters to quickly initiate suppression efforts. They further assisted by moving fire hoses, ensuring additional fire apparatus could access the scene and be deployed to more effectively to combat the growing flames. Demonstrating their commitment to public safety, the officers immediately began evacuating residents from the burning apartment complex and adjacent homes that were in imminent danger. Their efforts directly contributed to the preservation of life during a chaotic and life-threatening situation. In several instances, officers courageously entered smoke-filled and burning structures to rescue trapped pets, ultimately saving the lives of beloved family companions. Understanding the critical need for accountability, the officers gathered information on potentially unaccounted residents from within the affected apartments and relayed this to the Unified Fire Authority, supporting their search and rescue operations. The officers established a temporary relocation area for evacuees, ensuring all displaced individuals were guided to safety away from the hazardous zone. They also secured the surrounding perimeter, shutting down multiple roadways to prevent vehicle interference with fire suppression activities, therefore ensuring the emergency crews had unimpeded access to the scene. Shortly thereafter, a second fire was discovered nearby. Without hesitation, these officers shifted their attention and responded to the new threat. They quickly evacuated residents from several homes that were in the path of the second fire and directed arriving fire personnel to the precise locations where suppression efforts were urgently needed. Because of their rapid and decisive actions, the second fire was contained without any structural damage and no casualties occurred as a result of the fire. Their coordination, leadership, and willingness to put themselves in harm's way to protect others exemplifies the highest standards of service and sacrifice. The heroic and selfless actions of these officers during these fire emergencies reflect the great credit upon themselves, Unified Police Department, and the community they honorably serve. For their extraordinary performance under dangerous and demanding conditions, they are deserving of the Division Commander's Award.
Thank you very much. And before we want to get a picture with you guys, but I want to say, and we have some firefighters here too, and you guys are heroes as well in this episode. Yeah. So we talked about this at our last council meeting, about the exemplary work that you guys did to make sure that there was no loss of human life in this catastrophic fire. And that's a credit to your bravery and to your fulfillment of your duty to your jobs, but also we really appreciate it on behalf of our whole Millcreek community. We really appreciate it. And I recognize the danger that you put yourselves into, and that also was long hours, and that scene needed to be controlled for several days. So everybody sees when the fire is blazing, but the work that was done even after that to control the property, make sure that it was protected, and also just to make sure that traffic was directed out of there was wonderful work. I'm also, as I mentioned before, super proud of our community. It's not just the Millcreek community, but it's the whole valley that responded to help those folks. We've now been able to issue a second check to them. So each household there has received about $4,719. We still have some donations coming in, and we'll be giving a third distribution to them in September as well. And that we also collected a ton of donations of personal hygiene items, clothing, and household items that we were able to distribute to some of those, and then make it available to them as they get settled through our help from the Other Side Academy. So the outpouring of response to our community has been really gratifying as well. The other thing that I just want to say, I mean, this was a terrible event, and we hope it doesn't happen again. But the city of Millcreek and the city of Salt Lake are actually doing things to address this issue in this particular location, because there are still more weeds in that area. Our city staff today and I had a meeting with Mayor Mendenhall and the Department of Public Utilities Director Laura Briefer here at Millcreek to talk about this property and measures that can be taken to make sure that it complies with our code and is managed in a way that's safe to not only the Willow Glen folks that are still there, but also the Wolf Hollow condos and the other apartment projects that are in that vicinity. So we obviously don't want to see that happen again, and it's really hard to acknowledge that sometimes we learn the best lessons through events like this, but at least we are undertaking action to make sure that hopefully it doesn't happen again. But anyway, thank you for your service, thanks for your bravery, thanks for your service to our community in this tragedy, and I'm glad that you're all safe and that the residents of the Willow Glen apartments are all safe as a result of your efforts.
Thank you. Pictures.
We're going to do one big group picture with the council and then one with just the officers. Let's see, if we lopside over this way, then we don't have a podium in the middle. But then we get electrical problems.
I'm going to come over here.
We might have to do 2 rows. Well, this can work, okay. Feel free to scoot up if you Scrunch in, pretend you like each other. Our logo's off. Okay, here we go. No, just a little bit more on the edges. I can go wide angle, but all right, okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, elected's out, and let's just do officers. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, don't walk in my picture, council. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you guys come up next. Hold on, council, hey, council, stay in your seats, but stand up. Stay back. Let's get our fire guys.
Fire. We're doing another photo. Oh, we're not, maybe not doing another photo.
Did you want an everyone photo?
No, let's do it.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, I know.
Did you?
Well, let's get down. I'm good.
Okay.
Gotta get the fire guys. All right, fire. Okay, turn around. All right.
Yeah. I was like, how are they even here? It's 101. They're always busy.
I know. We're lucky to have you.
Okay. It's great to see those guys. Are there members of the public that would like to address our council this evening? Do we have anything online? Nope. Okay, then we will close public comment and move to our financial matters. So these next two matters actually are related to what we just talked about. In the immediate aftermath of that fire, our council felt it appropriate to assist the victims of that fire with a monetary contribution, and to do that immediately so that it would have some benefit to them, because a lot of them they all lost everything, and it takes weeks sometimes for, even if you have insurance, to get any benefit from that. So we talked about a monetary appropriation, and we actually, noticed that on an emergency basis and acted upon it and made a $500 contribution to each household that was displaced by that fire on the Monday following the Friday when we had a council meeting. Under Utah law, and when the city uses taxpayer dollars to pay third parties, we're typically required to have a study that shows that the disbursement is in the interest of the general welfare of the whole city. And so because this was an emergency situation, we weren't able to do that before. We wanted to get that contribution in the hands of these folks. What we did on the Tuesday following our Monday meeting is to deliver a check for, what is it, $2,300, Mike, to each of those households?
Yep, and change.
So that's $500 from the city, and then the balance of it was funds that were donated to the trademark GoFundMe facility that the city maintains for a Promise program. So the members of our community and frankly the whole state made donations to that account. So that boosted the amount up from $500 to $2,300. And then subsequently, as I mentioned, we issued a second check to folks to bring that total up to just over $4,700. And we'll be doing a third check, as I mentioned. So what we're doing really tonight, these two matters, is 2.1 and 2.2, is to do some cleanup to comply with the statutory responsibility that we have to get the study. So we commissioned a study. It's called, a 1082 study based upon the Utah Code section, which requires it. That study has been conducted. The finding of the study from the third-party consultant was that the appropriation of this funds was in the general interest of the city. I don't think there's much question about that. The other thing that the city did to aid these victims was we donated staff time in an extraordinary way to manage the contributions of actual physical items, the clothing, the hygiene items, and the household items that were dropped off here at City Hall, or some of them even dropped off at the chapel of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That was the emergency operations center and the temporary shelter that was set up for these folks. So we had, as I mentioned at our last meeting, we had actually even department heads working all around the clock, basically over that weekend. Our communications director, Rita Lund, our promise director, Kayla Mayers, our building official, Jim Hardy, our city manager and assistant city manager, Mike Winder and Francis Lilly, and then other employees of the city also engaged in efforts to try to help these folks. So the city has also expended resources in the form of labor and wages that we pay these folks to do their jobs. And some of them would have generated overtime as a result of that because work was done over the weekend. So the other part of this in 2.2 is to backward facing authorize the expenditure of that labor by the taxpayers of Millcreek for that effort.
Mayor, that's actually 3.1.
3.1.
Yeah, I'm 3.1, I'm sorry. So anyway, on both these matters, we are required to hold a public hearing, which we'll do, and then we have ordinances to basically approve those expenditures of monetary expenditure and of labor. So got ahead of myself there. But the first item we have then is the monetary contribution, and I need a motion to open a public hearing to discuss the appropriateness of that distribution.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Bev, seconded by Sylvia, to open a public hearing. So the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and public hearing is now open to consider the city's monetary contribution of up to $11,500. That's actually the amount of money we actually distributed pursuant to our emergency fire recovery plan. So I'll invite members of the public that have any comment on this issue to approach the podium and give us any comment they might have. Anything online? Okay, seeing no public comment, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Tom, seconded by Sherry to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Now let's move to discussion and consideration of ordinance 25-33 to adopt the Millcreek Emergency Fire Recovery Plan and approve a monetary contribution of $11,500 to residents displaced by the fire at 4878 South, 1300 East, also known as the Willow Glen Apartments.
I move that we approve ordinance 25-33, adopting the Millcreek Emergency Fire Recovery Plan and approving a monetary contribution of up to $11,500 to residents displaced by the fire at 4878 South, 1300 East, known as Willow Glen Apartments.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Tom, seconded by Sherry. Discussion to that motion.
I think it's a good thing to do, and I'm glad that we, as a city, were able to offer this support to residents. It's not enough. I'm sure they have a lot of expenses, but I'm glad it can at least help.
Thanks, Sherry. And I'll just say about this, this is not something that cities typically do. We do have other victims that are displaced by fires on occasion. This is an extraordinary event, but I think it's extraordinary because of the number of households that were displaced. We had 23 separate households displaced all at one time, and also because of the magnitude of the loss. I mean, there are structure fires where people lose everything, but that's not that common. Our firefighters do a great job of extinguishing those fires, and a lot of times they're kitchen fires or whatever, and they might create smoke damage or water damage, but people can still get in and get some of their belongings and recover something. In this case, these people were actually prohibited from going back and getting anything because of the condition of the structures were not safe. So our building official basically said that they couldn't. So some of these folks lost all of their worldly possessions other than the clothes on their back, and some of them lost their vehicles as well. So this was an extraordinary situation, and I think it required an extraordinary response. And I think that the public outpouring of support for this effort is reflective of the idea of how this impacted people and how it made us all want to help in this situation. So I think it is appropriate. There's no further discussion. I'll have Lisa call the roll on this, please.
Councilmember DeSirant.
Aye.
Councilmember Jackson.
Aye.
Councilmember Weepy.
Aye.
Councilmember Catton.
Aye.
Mayor Silvestrini.
Aye. Thank you, Council. It's great that that's unanimous. Okay, now we will open a public hearing to consider a non-monetary contribution of services to those residents displaced by that same fire. Look for a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Sherry, seconded, I think, by Tom and Bev, but we'll give it to Tom. Oh,
I am good to share.
To open the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, the public hearing is now open. Are there members of the public who'd like to address our council with respect to our consideration of a non-monetary contribution of services to the residents displaced by this fire? I'm just not seeing anything online. Okay, then I entertain a motion to close public comment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Tom, seconded by Sylvia to close public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Now let's consider ordinance 25-34.
I will make a motion to approve item 3.2, ordinance 25-34, approving a non-monetary contribution of services to residents displaced by the fire at 4878 South 1300 East, known as Willow Glen Apartments.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Bev, seconded by Sylvia to approve ordinance 25-34. Discussion of that motion. You call the roll, please.
Councilmember Weepy.
Aye.
Councilmember Catton.
Aye.
Mayor Silvestrini.
Aye.
Councilmember Jackson.
Aye.
Councilmember Desirant.
Aye.
Thank you, council. And I also want to thank our staff on this for going through the work of getting these reports prepared and making sure that we are dotting our I's and crossing our T's with respect to compliance with state law to basically ratify the emergency action that this council and our staff took to help these fire victims. So,
And I just am so grateful for the quality and the commitment of our staff that they spent time, even those who weren't here on the clock, came to volunteer. Shannon, who works with our facilities, came and brought his kids, and they were helping sort donations, and Kiana and her roommate came down. I mean, just coming to show up and help and not expecting anything, and I'm just grateful for the people we have that work at Mill Creek.
Agreed.
thanks. Okay. All right, well, that concludes our business. Now we're off to reports. We did some of this in our work meeting, so I won't repeat too much, but I do want to report to the residents of Mill Creek that since our last council meeting, as we talked about bonding for the parking structure and the improvements that the city will own on the east side of Mill Creek Common, the city issued $25 million worth of bonds. And as we've talked about before, the city received a AAA bond rating from Fitch, and our community investment area received a AA+, which is like the second highest to the top bond rating with respect to these bonds. The bonds actually were sold by our underwriter, Stiefel and Company, last week. Last week. And the sale went well. What you find out when you go out and issue bonds, you find out what people are willing to pay for them and bid for them. And sometimes there's an oversubscription, which means they could have sold more bonds than what we were offering. And that actually results in a bond premium. So the city received a bond premium in this case of about $130,000 over and above the amount that we were seeking to raise. And the combined interest rate, the way this works is it's actually pretty super complicated, but bonds are sold in individual maturities, which means somebody might want to buy a bond, which was going to pay them in 5 years, and somebody else might want to buy a bond that has a maturity of 15 years and 20 years. And the way these bonds work, they're laddered so that some of them mature each year, and so that way the city doesn't have to pay them back all at once. We pay them back over time, and some of the different maturities sell at different rates. And in order to sell them at some of the less attractive rates, sometimes the city has to pay a little bit more in order to make them attractive. So the overall interest rate that these bonds bear, if you sort all that out, is 4.91%, which is, in this particular interest rate market, actually darn good. It was nice to be congratulated by our underwriter with respect to that, and also our municipal financial advisory firm, Lewis Young and Jason Birmingham, who works for them. So our bonds sold. People wanted to buy them. They sold at a good interest rate. Now, that $25 million is going to be paid back over 20 years, and the good news is that the city's internal repayment plan provides that the the revenue that from the parking structure and the retail establishments that the city will actually own fronting Millcreek Common will pay those bonds without an expenditure of any funds by the Millcreek taxpayer. So it won't cost the taxpayers anything, and we will see a parking structure which will make it possible for a hotel to be built on Highland Drive. Millcreek doesn't have a hotel, but this hotel will have about 100 units. It's going to be a Hyatt, what is it? Hyatt
Sweets.
So it's got a great, what they call flag. It's hard to do better than Hyatt. And this hotel will serve not only Millcreek Common and our convention facilities here, but people who have weddings in Millcreek Canyon, or people who may have loved ones at St. Mark's Hospital, so that they can stay if they have extended stays at the hospital. So the hotel will pay transient room tax and sales tax to the city, and the retail on fronting Millcreek Common will generate sales tax for the city. So this all is an economic development bonus for the city, and we will have a complement to the development here on the west side of Millcreek Common on the east side, which will complete that plan. So it's actually a great thing, and I'm pretty proud of the fact that our almost 9-year-old city was able to get a AAA bond rating and do such a great job selling those bonds.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's basically that's my mayor's report. It's a pretty good one. So other reports from council
Yeah,
members.
I have a couple of things. Maybe some of you heard that there was a human case of West Nile virus, and luckily that was in the south end of the valley, and usually it's the south end that is problematic, just because we have more density over here. But that was usually the mosquito abatement district is kind of, we're slow to comment on that just because we don't want to scare people. But because there was a human case where we do have to tell people about it. But from what I've heard, there haven't been any more human cases. That was a few weeks ago. But as always, empty water in your yards, wear long sleeves, take precautions. It's actually been a pretty dry year, so having just one case was expected and is actually pretty good. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was that this last weekend, the Jordan River Commission celebrated 15 years. It's kind of a big deal just because since then, they've actually accomplished a lot, and I've been there for almost half of it, which is pretty amazing. In the 15 years they've completed the Jordan River Trail, they've made a ton of improvements. They've worked on water quality, and this last year they started their own, or they were able to have their own watershed arm, the Jordan Watershed Committee. So we just celebrated that on Saturday down in Lehigh, and it's kind of a big deal just for everybody who works in water quality and public lands and all the cities that have frontage. But yeah, I do want to mention that Soren, who's the executive director, he's very pleased that with us in that we have the smallest river frontage, and we kind of got on top of it, and we have kind of the sensitive lands plan for the river frontage for our area, which a lot of cities don't have that yet. So we kind of are just on top of it. So good for us. That's it.
So I remember when the Jordan River Trail was just like an idea and a dream, really, and to see that happen and to see it be the transportation corridor and recreational amenity that it is fantastic. And I'm also super proud of what we've been able to do in Millcreek,
Yeah.
including raise the funding, from grants as well as city funds and community development block grants to be able to piece together a trail that really benefits our West Side residents and really everybody in the valley, but in particular our West Side residents who live adjacent to it.
There's still a lot to do, but it's good progress. That's it.
Thanks. The only a couple of updates for you. Just a reminder, I'm on the AAPI lead elected board for the national, this national organization. And Of the 300 people that we had in attendance of AA, Asian American or Pacific Islanders, of the 300, there were 11 Pacific Islanders who were in attendance at the last conference. And being on this board, they have asked me to also step in on some planning for the next. So I will be attending a planning conference as the only PI, because there's only 11 of us right now in the nation between Alaska, California, Hawaii, and Utah, to plan for next year. And really, it's to help encourage people to run within our own communities. You know, we don't see it in our households. I'm a very different, very, very different. So I'm very special. Well, special in a kind of a different way, but to be a second generation elected official, you know, isn't necessarily common in any heritage. But I also wanted to use that as a lead-in because Millcreek has been such a good friend to the Pacific Islanders and to all different ethnic groups. We are just closing the end of Utah's Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and I had nothing to do with the activities that were held here, but there was a blooming for young women event that was held here. Again, had no idea that Millcreek is just really this open during the entire month, and also to the Utah Historic Society Association. And they also held a panel here for Pacific Islanders. So I just want to thank, you know, the council, the city, our city leadership for embracing the different, not just Pacific Islanders this month, but just in general. You know, we are such a welcoming city where, you know, everyone has a place here, whether it's here at City Hall, out on the skate rink. It is something that we also have within our community, not just here in the leadership. So anyway, just wanted to thank you all.
Thanks, Bev. Thanks for saying that, because I think it's recognized around Salt Lake County and the state of the outstanding work that we do in Millcreek to try to be inclusive to all of the various members of our community. And you and I were both at the Pacific Islander Skate Night and felt some of that appreciation from the other members of that group. And thanks really need to go to our community life department, to Amy McConkey and Rachel Nass, who, you know, have in forefront the idea of making sure that the facilities we have here and are welcoming to everybody in our community, and they work hard to make sure that people feel that way.
Yeah, and sorry, I forgot this part about the planning. So there are donors. There are some anonymous donors within the AAPI community who I am going to be sitting down with to talk further about how to help our AAU, which helps fund our Promise program. So we'll see where we can go with that.
Okay, thanks, Bev. Anybody else?
I do. I attended the Red Cross shelter training last Tuesday. Our city emergency manager, Chris Catalano, was there, and it was interesting and informative, and I hope we never have to set up a shelter. But it's a lot of logistics and moving pieces, and I'm grateful to the Red Cross for the work they did in setting up our Millcreek shelter. They referenced it several times, and just kind of the lessons they learned and the coordination with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and just how well that worked with the community in our city, and just grateful for everybody who helped make that happen.
Thanks, Sherry. Okay, so I know we hit some staff reports in our work meeting. Anything else, Mr. Manager?
Oh, that's all tonight.
Okay. And the treasurer's report was given during our work meeting as well, and if anybody's interested in that, we can provide them with a copy of it in writing. Okay, Unified Police Chief Betty Brown.
I'd first like to start by giving our condolences to the Tremont and Garland Police Department and our brothers and sisters up there in the community for the tragic event that happened up there. A lot of us will be traveling up to both funerals, and some of our officers are actually going to be working shifts up there for those departments up there, so all of their members can attend those funerals. So we're giving them all the support we can at this time.
We appreciate you doing that.
Our current staffing here in Mill Creek, we've got 2 true vacancies. We've got 7 that are encumbered or allocated to Mill Creek. We've got 5 vacancies in patrol and 2 in our specialty positions. Lieutenant's here tonight. I just want to recognize him. He's been working very hard at keeping our staffing up on our patrol level, and I think he's very relieved that we're going to get 4 new officers in the middle of September. They'll be coming off our field training program, and Mill Creek gets 4 of them. So I know he's pretty relieved about that because he works hard to keep our staffing levels up. So I appreciate
Well, and
that.
I also know that you're not going to be off the hook when they get here, because you've got a lot of work to do once they do get here to actually get them fully trained, and it's a long process. It's not just academy and all that. It's a work in progress. So
Yes.
appreciate it.
Our response times for July: 5 minutes for priority 1, 5 minutes for priority 2, and 12 minutes for priority 3. Our case trends continue to go down. Don't really have an answer for that, but it seems, like I said before, it's a nationwide trend that crimes are going down, so that's good news. So for this month, we're at 796.
We're not complaining.
No, we're not. Our calls for service are also down. For July, 2,581. New police reports, 796. So you can see that's also trending down. Transient calls, 18. Mental health calls, 56. Our DU unit, once again, staying very busy and building up those stats. 20 arrests, 17 search warrants, 3 stolen vehicles, and then 10 firearms. And then you can see the drugs that were seized for July.
So I thought it was nice that at the last UPD board meeting that they spotlighted the direct enforcement unit and talked about some of the work they've done, and I also know that on the very day that they were doing that, they were doing an enforcement action and serving warrants in our city, and successfully to address a problem and something that's been a concern of a number of Mill Creek residents for a while that I've been hearing about, and maybe some of you have as well, on Orchard Drive.
Thank you.
Or no, Olive Drive.
Olive Drive. Yeah, Olive Drive. Yeah.
My area, and I haven't heard, but
Yeah.
It started with an O anyway.
Our traffic unit, 293 traffic stops, 139 citations, 114 warnings issued, 10 DUI arrests, 90 accidents reported, taken, and 3 pedestrian bicycle accidents. We did saturation. I know this is for August, but we'll talk about it. But we did, starting a school, we did a lot of saturation, traffic saturations on crosswalks, and we're very proactive around Skyline High School just to.
So I had a
Yeah.
question in looking at this heat map. The biggest one, 108, I think it is, 106. Is that on State Street, or is that west of State Street? Is that like Artesian Springs or something like that, or what is that?
I believe it is around the Artesian Springs, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know, listening to the earlier meeting, there's a lot of parking problems down there, so we get called down there a
So
lot.
this could be parking
Yes.
citations,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Let's hope it's that.
Our special operations, shared services, no new SWAT callouts, 5 callouts for the crash accident reconstruction. In Mill Creek alone, for the drone unit, we had 4 operations totaling almost 5 hours. And then the K9 unit, you see their stats there is what they've been responding out on. For investigations, shared services, violent crimes unit, no new homicides, 1 death investigation, 3 felony assaults, 1 assault, 1 kidnap, and stalking. That was for the Mill Creek precinct that our violent crimes takes care of for us. For Mill Creek alone, 46 assaults, 6 burglaries, 17 drug offenses, 66 family offense, 31 fraud, 65 larceny, 1 robbery, 6 sex offense, and 6 stolen vehicles. And during the month of July, detectives were assigned 37 cases, and 10 of those were submitted for charges. Been a busy summer for our COP. We 26 total engagement hours. Ice cream truck officers were out of all of these events. You know, of course, we had a night out against crime, but that's August, so I'll kind of talk about that for next month. But you can see the picture up there with the mayor
Who's
and
that
Chief Mazarin. And then I want to introduce our newest recruit.
Glad
So.
you used the ugly picture first and then the cute picture now.
So we're always trying to find creative ways to use our beer tax. So we used, for our ice cream truck, that's what we used. So Colin challenged our staff to say, okay, what can we do with our beer tax besides doing DUI enforcement? That's important, but let's find some other ways. So came up with the idea of a canine PTSD dog therapy dog. So we contacted a few agencies around the nation. Some of them have them, to see kind of their protocols, how it works, had good reports. Our biggest challenge, honestly, was to decide who the handler would be. We looked at officers, and officers change assignment, they get promoted. We wanted something stable, so we decided to give this to Greg Golden, our social worker. So he'll be taking this out on mental health calls, all the community engagement with the ice cream truck out here on the commons. He's committed to do that. So this is Flapjack. That's a temporary name. We're going to let Greg, if he wants to keep that. A border collie poodle mix. This is a 10-week-old picture, so we won't get him until January. He'll be going through the therapy training for the next few months. He'll be visiting up here, but we anticipating getting him in January. So
Really like this because I feel like, we always get pushback of buying things for police departments, and I'll be like, we bought a puppy. Like,
yes.
who's mad about buying a puppy?
Yeah, everybody likes a puppy, right?
And what a great
He trained
service.
here in Utah?
He's with a breeder up in Morgan, yes. So he is in Utah. So yeah,
If you need any help transporting Flapjack back,
Yeah.
please let me know.
So only beer drinkers can have any kind of say about complaining about this since they're paying for it.
Meaning we bought or something.
that's a good idea.
Jack,
Yeah.
No, this is such a great, this is, especially since it's not normal, it's not typical in our police departments. And as you found in your research, I think this is such a great service, especially since Greg is over. Greg probably needs this dog more than
It's true. Yes.
than some of his cases. Now, will Flapjack also just be in the office?
Yes, when Greg will have him with him most of the time. So when, Greg's up here a lot doing his casework and he'll be wandering around the building, we've said, yeah, please, everybody on our floor is excited. He'll be, wandering around the building out on the common all the time. So
Okay,
Yeah,
it was
lot of-
more selfish.
Yes,
ask
I
of,
know.
we need to meet Flapjack.
absolutely. Yeah, well, he'll be around a lot. So
Chief, I want to compliment you and your team because this is a creative idea and the ice cream truck is a creative idea. And, these are things where they meet the mission of the beer tax, which is to promote education or enforcement around, drug and alcohol issues. This will do that. And also it accomplishes the goal in our council, basically having a police department that's truly community oriented and builds relationships with people in our community and addresses their real needs. I mean, you have a job with respect to, catching criminals and all that, but, and that's, I'm not discounting that, but these other aspects are important, and frankly, they facilitate, your work in terms of building community trust. People are more likely to cooperate and help you catch the bad guys when they trust you.
thank you.
And I also want to commend you. I just was thinking about how team oriented your officers of the month are. Since you've become our chief, I see more than one sometimes because it's a team effort, and we realize that there's so many more, bodies as part of the team that helps keep it running so smoothly. But it's been really nice to see a lot of the joint efforts of recognition for several officers, not just one. So to see Chief Hoyle's team here twice. I think this summer, within this summer, we've had them here twice. Just, I love the team aspect of it all. So
Yeah, and we work great with Holiday City. I mean, they're part of Unified, obviously, but yeah, we're just great partners with them. We help each other out a lot, so thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chief.
Oh, I have a question for you. I was hoping you would address it, but some of the officers came to.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Some of your officers came to the Moss Bike Rodeo,
Yes.
and that was super helpful. And I was talking to a few of them about the new regulations on golf carts, scooters, motorbikes.
Yes.
Because it's a huge problem. So I just wanted to know if you could like touch on that really quick and tell us about the biggest changes, because there's a lot in this.
There
city.
is, and honestly, I'm not an expert on it. I can look those up. We did,
Next
our
time, yeah.
PIO did a,
Video.
yes,
I
have
saw
you
part
watched
of-
that?
I saw part of it. Yeah,
Okay,
it's fun.
yeah, and I know we gave that to Rita to put out for Mill Creek. But it's so convoluted with the different classes of bikes
Yes.
and the e-bikes that we're all still trying to figure it out. Just when you get it figured out, then, company and manufacturer puts something else out there. So I can come up with something, but honestly, I can't tell you exactly everything on it.
Okay.
I
thi-
just, yeah.
Well, I had asked some questions, and the officers I was talking to said, basically, if it was hard because the classifications are kind of, from one vehicle to the next. But if it has a motor and you can put it in drive, then you need a license to operate it. So
Yes.
kids should not be
And it should be on
driving,
the sidewalk.
shouldn't be on the sidewalk,
Yes.
and they aren't allowed in parks.
No.
On yeah, we got to do more PR around this, I think, because it's a huge problem. I see
Yes.
the motorbikes at Big Cottonwood Park all the time.
Rim.
Yeah,
And it's scary to see how fast some of
They
them
go
can
so
go.
fast.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing. We're still trying to, like I
Figure out
said,
how
we
to
put
put
out
it-
that
roll it
video
out.
and
Yeah.
and we're kind of trying to educate ourselves on what's what. But
Okay.
yeah, the golf carts, I know it has to be street legal, and
Okay.
so
okay.
sorry, I can't answer
No, it's
everything on
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and then just in the event of an accident, heaven forbid an accident happens, but in the event that an accident happens, it's not prohibited, it's not insured technically, who is liable for damages. Part of it is the education for that. Like, this is why you want, do you want to transfer the risk? Do you want to? So
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to our consent agenda, we have the consideration of our minutes for both July 28 and August 11 work and regular meetings.
Motion to approve item 5.1 and 5.2.
Second.
Motion by Bev, seconded by Tom to approve items 5.1 and 5.2. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those are approved. Thank you. So we have community council meetings, and I guess it's the week after next, the first week of September. And our next meeting is September 8th. And you'll be here?
I will be here.
Because I will not be.
Yes,
I don't think I'll
we'll
be
be
able to
here.
participate remotely either, so.
So with any changes to the community councils, I am available to go to Mill Creek, Canyon Rim, or East Mill Creek. Is there?
I'll plan on attending Mill Creek.
Yeah, I'll probably stop by too because it's been a minute since I've gone.
I'll be by East Mill Creek, so you don't have to go.
Well, I can, so I mean, and are you planning to go to any of them this time?
I might be able to go to the ones on the second, third, and fourth. I won't be able.
Well, we can't all go to the one on the second, but maybe we can tag team.
Yeah. I haven't.
I can go
I
first
should-
and then you can tag me
Yeah,
out.
I haven't been to Canyon or East Mill Creek in the longest, so. Okay,
Okay.
that's all. We already covered our closed session, so is there any other business?
Nope. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion by Bev, second by Sherry to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.